Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today's presentation is inspired by a question that we got over the weekend, and it has to do with styling applications. But before we get started, I'd just like to do a quick AV check. Can you hear my voice? Can you see my mouse moving around the screen? Just let me know in the questions box or in the chat box, and I'll know that everything is okay, and then we will proceed. Fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So let's get started. Today's presentation is on styling our application. Let me go ahead and start the slideshow from this slide here. There we go. And it has to do also with the Alpha Anywhere test drive application. So the Alpha Anywhere test drive application is a complete application that has got two-factor authentication and user management and menus and a whole bunch of other good things. It's a great starting point for your own application, and you can get it for free over at GitHub. So it's github.com/Alpha Anywhere, all lowercase, will take you to the Alpha Anywhere account, and then its Alpha test drive repository is the one that you'd want to download. So let's start in with a question. We have a question which came in, which said, so they're using ours as a starting point, and they want to style the application to make it their own. So the question is, what's a simple way to adjust the panel header background? So it's the panel header and text color. And also the hamburger menu appears to have a blue underline. When you hover or click on it, can that be changed somehow, for example, to match the green? I know that a lot of people get confused when it comes to styling. So I thought today would be a great way just to show you the basics, well, and even more, of how to address questions like this when you're looking at an interface and saying, something doesn't look quite right. It's the wrong color, it's the wrong size, it's the wrong spacing. So today we're going to show you how to take care of that. If you look over here, this is the original Alpha test drive. It's got a blue background and semi-transparent white writing. This is the one that was sent in, and they would like to have this turned to green, and maybe they want to have this be set to a different color, and they don't want this hover effect to appear with this cyan bar. So we want that to disappear. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we'll start up here with the easiest one, and that is the text. So we're going to move on to the next screen. And basically what we did is we opened up the main UX of the project, which I've called Master UX, which you'll find there. And we opened it up here in the UX editor, and we came down to the static text, which said Alpha Anywhere test drive. That is the text that appears on the header. And all we had to do there is just take a look in the properties, and we saw that we had a style set up with a specific font size and color and other options. So if you click on that button right there, it will take you to a style editor. And here you'll see I've set it up as white, 255, 255, 255, and I've put half transparency there, which is how that appeared. So you can go ahead and click this smart button here and choose any color you want. You could set transparency and all that. So it's kind of a cool feature, but I just want to show you that. That one is really easy. Okay, let's do a harder one. So the harder one is the background, and I'll show you why. Here is the panel header right here. When I click on it and I go into properties, you'll notice I don't have a style set up and I don't have a class set up. So where the heck is that blue color coming from, and how can I change it? Well, when you build a UX, every UX has got a CSS that's associated with it, a cascading style sheet. So, and for each item that you place here, there is an associated CSS for that type of item that's built into that style sheet. There's about 300 different classes in the style sheet, which makes it reading through it kind of hard. But what I'm going to show you today is how you find a particular class in that style sheet and how you change it. So what we're going to do is, instead of looking over here to make that change, We're instead going to go into working preview. And so click pages. Here we are in the, here we are in working preview. And in the working preview view, you'll notice at the bottom, there's something called Open Chrome Debugger. Maybe you've used this before, maybe you haven't. Very, very useful. When you click on Chrome Debugger, it opens up, well, the Chrome Debugger, as you might imagine. And let me show you what this consists of. So over here on the left, you'll see the code that's used to create the component. Over here on the right, you'll see details like the styles that are used in the component. And up here at the top left corner, or just below the top left corner, there is a little icon. That is the element selector. If you click on that, you can then move the cursor to any place in the working preview window and then click, and that will select that particular item. That's what I've done here. So when we selected it, we had this little drop down which appears that tells you the name of the item. It's called dlg1.r1.header.mob_blue_mod_panel_header. Now we do something kind of nice for you in Alpha. We actually put the style name as the last part of the name. So if we wanted to make a modification to this, we know that the style we're going to modify is called mob_blue_mod_panel_header. Now, let's say we didn't do that. You couldn't find it. No problem, because over here, you could take a look at the source and see that the class has been set to mod_blue_panel_header. The other thing you can do is you could take a look at the styles and the computed styles. And I'm sorry, I've sort of cut it off here on this screen, but you would be able to see what styles are in effect. And in fact, in this view, you can actually tweak them, like, for example, set a different color just to see what it would look like. It's not permanent. It's just for testing purposes. So the only thing you really have to be concerned with here is finding out what the class name is for the thing that you want to change. And in this case, it's mob_blue_mod_panel_header. Okay, with that done, we are going to click back on the Design tab, and then we're going to go into Properties for our UX. And in the Properties of the UX, you're going to find the style name that you've selected. The one that we use for the Alpha Test Drive is called mob_blue_mod. And there's a button here that lets you edit the style in the style builder. So if you click on that, it's going to open up a screen that doesn't look exactly like this. When it opens up, it's going to be here on the Design tab, so it's going to have a different view. But as soon as this opens up, what you're going to want to do is click the Code tab. And this is going to show you the whole style sheet. Now, there are a couple ways you could find that style that we were just looking for. You could type the name in up here, or, and this is something I like to do because it just gives me a nice list of things. If you click anywhere here in this white space, it'll make a selector appear. And when you click on that selector, it opens up a dialog box with all of the styles in it. They're all listed here in alphabetical order, so you can pretty quickly scroll down just to the one that you want. There's also a filter here, so that's another way of finding it. And there's a third way, which I'm going to show you towards the end. By hitting Control F, opens up a search and replace box. You can also use that for finding your style. So in this case, we found our style in the list. We're going to click on it. And here you'll see I've highlighted it, mob_blue_panel_header. The color, the background color, the font, and all of that is here. So in this case, the background color is the one we want to change. If you recall, the one that comes with Alpha Test Drive is blue, but in this case, the person would like to have it green. So we're going to modify that, which I've done right here. I've just changed it to this 4F684E sort of thing. So there we go. Once that's done, there are two things that you need to do. And I mess this up all the time, and I'm going to put in a feature request to make sure that you confirm changes when you leave. I'll show you what I mean. Once you've set that, make sure you click the Save button before you close. I can't tell you the number of times I've just clicked closed and it hasn't saved, and I said, what's going on? So click Save, then click Close. And then when you go back into Working Preview, you will find that the style has been applied. So that is how you find and replace and update the styles for pretty much anything in your project. So let's just go through that real quick one more time. So to edit an object, first check to see whether or not a class, open it up in the UX editor, and then first check to see whether or not a style or a class has been set. That's the first place to look. If it turns out that one hasn't been set, like was the case for our panel header, then what you're going to want to do is go into Working Preview, open the Chrome debugger, click the Element selector, choose the selected item you want, and find what the what the class name is from there. When that's done, you go back to the Design tab, you open up the Style Editor, you can click on the Code tab, open up the list, find, change, and you're done. And you'll find this process to be really quick once you do it a couple of times. All right, so there's one other one that's a little bit tricky, and that was the last part of the question was, how do I change an on hover? On hovers are tricky because when you're using the Chrome debugger and you take your mouse off of it, it's no longer hovering, so you don't see what the style is in the Chrome debugger. Fortunately, there aren't a lot of places where hover styles are used, and in all of the cases, we have actually labeled them with the name hover somewhere in the name, so you don't have to go guessing or looking through. So in this case, and this is the other case that I want to tell you about allowing you to find and change your spreadsheet, your style sheet, is if you hit Control F, you will open up a search dialog box. I typed in the word hover, I clicked search, and so those are the ones that I'd want to take a look at and see if they've changed the border or something like that, or if they've set the border color or the border style, and I'd want to unset those if I didn't need them. So that's how you do that. The other nice thing about this dialog box is that it is a search and replace dialog box. So if you knew, for example, that every place you had the old blue color, that 0056AC, and you wanted to replace it with the green color, you could just do a search and a replace, and it would go through every part of this style sheet and make those updates for you. So I hope that that has been helpful for you. I know that it's one of these things, you do it a couple of times, it'll be a lot easier. All right, so let's take a look and see if we have any questions. Oh, okay. So the thing is, here we go. During Devcon 2024, Firestore integration was reviewed. Actually, that was a great session. I asked about getting the Firestore PWA app on Bob Moore's demos on YouTube, and the response was to check the content portal. Where is the content portal? All right, let's go find it. Let me just go into Safari, open a new tab. Alpha software. I'm here at the main menu. I'm going to choose, excuse me, I'm going to choose Learn. Developers Day. Scroll down. Oh, that shouldn't say sign up, but if I click on it, it'll take you to here. Well, let me make that change on the site. So let me grab this. This is the content portal. I'm going to put that right here in the chat window. And those are all of our sessions from the Devcon that we did on November 20th, including Bob's session. And let's see, it should be his session is right here. It's combined. It's what's new for 2024 and beyond. It begins with Selwyn, but then it ends with Bob. And as far as the URL for getting his stuff, I don't see that it's there. I'm going to ask to have that added. Add PWA links. Cool. So that's where it's at. And also, you can also send in an email to guides@alphasoftware.com. We can find it for you that way too. All right. Any chance of updating the test drive app with a chat screen connected to Firestore? I love that idea. That's a really good idea. Yeah, there is a chance. Let me write that down. Chat in test drive app. And by the way, if anyone else has any ideas for anything that they would like to add to the test drive application, and I think a chat feature is a great one, be able to do that. All right. There we go. Excellent. Someone says hover over the watch video button. Why is it not working? No, that looks right. Yeah, this is what you want. And I'd say it'd be right about here is where you, right about the 1 hour. Yeah, there we go. Right about the 1 hour mark. So that's where you're going to go to get that. And I think he actually, I think he displayed those URLs at the end. Yeah, he did. Oh, that's the one for the content portal. Anyway, we'll get those up on the site. Thanks for asking on that. All right. Fantastic. Any other questions? It doesn't look like it. All right. Hey, cool. Hey, thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. Look forward to seeing you next week at our next Alpha Software demo and Q&A webcast. If you have any questions, go ahead, send them in. Happy to answer them. Until then, take care and stay well. Bye-bye.